deadly fungal disease that is spreading across the U.S. and posing a serious global health threat at this time. Cases of Candida auris or C. auris, they have increased dramatically from the previous years, and it is now in the United States it has made its way across to the U.S. In a recent report that has shown. C. auris is a type of yeast that can cause severe illness and is often resistant to antifungal treatments, which means that that there are medications that are designed to stop the fungus, and it says it does not work against this particular one. So these are coming out in the past couple days. Here's another headline that reads, Deadly Candida auris fungal infection is spreading rapidly across the United States with a 60% loss of life rating. Seattle's potentially deadly fungus outbreak. That's right. So we have just received reports this month that this is now here in the United States.
Welcome to the OG community, where curiosity is encouraged and questions are explored. Here we look at hidden history, symbolism, world events, and mysteries that make people stop and think. In today's episode, we got another banger. What's going on? Why are we keep running into all these viruses and fungus infections in 2026? But before we get into this video, let's make sure everybody stopping through is hitting that subscribe button. Be a part of the OG community. And for my day one OG community members that been supporting me, please guys, let's make sure we keep hyping these videos up when we can and smashing that like button. Well, without further ado, let's get into this video.
What the fuck y'all mean a fungus storm? What the fuck is that? I mean, y'all could have released a lot of stuff. Y'all could have released a damn Kraken. A fungus storm? Ain't no folks in California already experiencing that?
A superbug fungus has now hit Louisiana and half the country. Here's what you need to know. This isn't your typical health warning. The fungus, known as Candida auris, is spreading rapidly through healthcare facilities. What makes it so dangerous? Candida auris resists most major antifungal drugs, making infections extremely difficult to treat. Unlike common pathogens, it clings to hospital surfaces and human skin for days, silently spreading from patient to patient. Case numbers have escalated rapidly, surpassing 3,400 reported U.S. cases as of mid-2026, putting vulnerable patients at severe risk. Long-term care facilities and nursing homes are on high alert as healthcare personnel scramble to contain potential outbreaks. Hospitals are increasing screening and strict disinfection protocols. Stay informed as health agencies monitor this growing medical threat.
Well, it's over. Deadly cat fungus and microticks are coming for us. The USDA just admitted in an X post that you have to be ready for those microticks that are even smaller than poppy seeds. Of course, we knew that because people have been reporting these microticks for a month now. Ticks so small that you won't even know they're attached to you until it's too late.
Those are all little baby ticks crawling up my leg.
That's disgusting.
So I thought these were scabs. And then I'm like, well, why would I have a scab? So this morning I realized I had these things in between my nails. And I thought, oh, is it dirt? And then I looked closer. I was like, oh, it looks like a scab. And then I'm talking to my mom on the phone and I'm just kind of like playing around with my hands. And I'm realizing that these are actually seed ticks. And they're on this hand too. Once I realized they were on multiple of my hands, that's when I was like, what are these?
I don't know about y'all, but she made me start looking at my hand too. Shit. Had to take a look down at my hand. How do you have little things barreled into your skin in between your fingers and you don't know it? That's weird. That's weird. It's confusing.
That is a seed tick.
And as if this tick situation wasn't bad enough already, they're saying a deadly cat fungus is about to hit the US. Scientists just found it inside wild mammals, birds, and even reptiles in Brazil. It spreads through infected cats and can infect humans. One CDC expert warns it's only a matter of time before it reaches the United States, and that raises the question, why are all these deadly biological outbreaks happening at the same damn time? We got a tick invasion that can make people allergic to meat or just kill them. We've got cannibal insects wreaking havoc in many states, and now they're talking about a cat fungus. What exactly are they trying to do?
We are seeing an increase in cases of a fungal infection called Candida auris or C. auris. There's a few things about this fungal infection that are problematic. Number one, these infections tend to be multi-drug resistant, which means that there are a lot of treatment options that just don't work against this fungus. That's a problem. Also, we are seeing these infections oftentimes in healthcare facilities, nursing homes, long-term care facilities, etc., where people maybe have been there for a while. People are also vulnerable. That's not so great. Also, with this infection, it's sometimes hard to detect it on laboratory studies. You kind of need sort of specific testing to be able to identify it. We're seeing an increase in cases of this, and it is concerning again because in long-term care facilities, healthcare facilities, those are often people who are the most vulnerable, especially those who have had IV lines or catheters or things like that in them. Those people are particularly vulnerable. Also, those who are immunocompromised or with a weakened immune system. The problem with this infection is that it can be downright deadly. It can be very, 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 very deadly. And that is a problem. The CDC is looking into this, trying to understand why, what, where, how, all that good stuff.
That is disgusting. Like, you're at the dinner table, scratching your feet at the dinner table while people are eating. How nasty can you get? That's why fungus is spreading around. Ugh. And then she go right to eat them.
I live on a farm here in West Kentucky, and we've got some cats that live outside, and they're family pets. We take good care of them, but they mainly take care of the rodents and things that get into the outbuildings. And we noticed the other day that one of these cats came up real sick, and he was just sitting and staring at the wall like he didn't know he was in this world. He couldn't hardly stand up. He was in bad shape. What? And within 48 hours, this cat was dead. Oh. And no less than 24 hours after this cat was gone, we started noticing all of these reports flooding social media about this tick-borne illness that's killing cats all across Kentucky. Yeah. And then within 24 hours of that, we saw where the CDC was sounding the alarm because of the rapid increase in emergency room visits from people who had been bitten by ticks. Yeah. It's crazy. Now, I know there's a lot of people talking about how this is bobcat fever and all of this, but I'm going to tell you right now, the Lord's blessed me with 41 years on this earth. And I've never seen anything quite like this. The suffering that this little cat went through. And in 48 hours, he went from being perfectly normal, perfectly healthy, to dead. Just like that. Now, when you look at what's happening with these tick-borne illnesses, we've already seen where Pfizer is now working on a Lyme disease vaccine, and that came out right before all of this tick stuff started happening. And then I started seeing more posts about how Ohio's being invaded with ticks. And I've seen all of these strange reports talking about how farmers are finding these boxes of ticks that have been dropped on their farms. Yeah. But I want you to think about this alpha-gal syndrome that everybody's all of a sudden getting. It's where a tick bites you, and then all of a sudden you're allergic to red meat. And I mean allergic. If you eat it, your throat will swell up and you'll die if you don't get to the emergency room. When in your life have you ever heard of anything like this happening to an animal from a tick bite? Yeah. Or to people from a tick bite? We know that we've got politicians and Bill Gates saying that people need to stop the consumption of red meat. because cows are causing global warming and all of this nonsense. And we see where the Gates Foundation just gave $7.6 million to this company to research and genetically modify ticks. Now, I know Google will tell you it wasn't for these kind of ticks, it was for that kind of ticks, but I'm telling you that the United States of America needs to be talking about this. Because while these people are telling you that you need to stop eating red meat and they need to do something about these cows, all of a sudden we're having ticks bite people and it's giving people a meat allergy. And now we're seeing these cats that are dying from these tick bites. What's next?
Breaking news out of Michigan. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening, Leland. Yeah, the U.S. Attorney in Michigan is calling this the gravest national security concern. You have a Chinese national, a woman who's getting her postdoctoral fellowship at the University of Michigan. Her name is Young King Jian. This is the indictment that you see right here. Her boyfriend comes to visit, lands into Detroit, nonstop flight from Shanghai. They think there's something up with him, Customs and Border Patrol. They start searching him. He says he doesn't have anything. They ask him multiple times. And in his backpack, they find a killer fungus, something known as a terrorism weapon, something capable of taking out billions of dollars in livestock and crops and making people very, very sick. He later admits that he was taking this fungus to his girlfriend, to his Chinese girlfriend, who is doing her postdoctoral fellowship at the University of Michigan. The feds start digging through their cell phones, all of the apps that they have, the Chinese apps that they've been using to communicate, where it's all crystal clear. They had planned this out, that he was going to bring the fungus from China into Detroit and then to the University of Michigan. They figured it all out, the feds, thankfully. They are now charged with a number of things: conspiracy, smuggling, making false statements, also visa fraud, because the boyfriend was coming in on a tourism visa. Leland?
Yeah, and absolutely nobody believes she's just a postdoc fellow studying biofungus and whatever else at the University of Michigan. Brian, this follows up on some incredible reporting you did about a Chinese company that bought a massive amount of land and wanted to build a big factory up in northern Michigan. Are you seeing now a difference in how law enforcement and how communities are treating the Chinese coming in and trying to, what, use Trojan horses almost?
Well, I think it's interesting that this happened in July of last year, and the charges just came now. Why it took so long? Did it take the Trump administration to come in and push these charges? We don't know, but it took almost a year. And you made a good point about her not just being a postdoctoral fellow. I was going through the indictment, Leland. She received money from the CCP. She received research money from the CCP. She had to sign off on a form saying that she adhered to the 4 basic principles of the Communist Party of China, had to express love for the motherland, not smear the motherland. This is the woman who is now working at the University of Michigan.
Yeah, it puts Trump's ban on Chinese students and ban on anyone with ties to the CCP in a whole new light. Brian Entin, thank you very much.
Hi guys, if you own a cat, please listen to this. There is a deadly fungus that infects cats and then the cat infects the human that is spreading very fast. Let me tell you more about it. So this fungus, it's called Sportrix brasiliensis. Now it first originated in Brazil but has now spread across South America, infecting 11,000 people and thousands of cats. Now, scientists are warning that it's only a matter of time before it spreads to the US and maybe even worldwide in the future. So if your cat has this fungus, and these are the ways that you can catch it. If the cat bites you, if it scratches you, if the cat has any open sores and you're touching the cat, you can get it. And if the cat sneezes in your face, you can get it. So these are the symptoms in a human. The area that you've been scratched or bitten, it will be like a red sore bump, and then all of a sudden it grows into a very painful ulcer. It then spreads. Now in rare cases it can invade your lungs, your eyes, your joints, and also your central nervous system. So these are the symptoms your cat will have that you need to check. They would have crusty, deep, non-healing sores, mainly on their face and their nose. So the treatment for this is prolonged antifungal medication that will last at least 6 months.
A dangerous fungus is spreading across hospitals in the United States, and health experts are watching it closely. The fungus is called Candida auris. It's not the kind of fungus that usually affects healthy people. Instead, it mainly spreads in hospitals and nursing homes, especially among patients who are already very sick. What makes it concerning is that some strains are resistant to multiple antifungal medicines, making infections much harder to treat. It can cause serious infections in the bloodstream and other parts of the body, and it can survive on surfaces and medical equipment, which makes infection control very important. The good news is that for most healthy people, the risk is currently low. This is mainly a healthcare-associated infection, not something that is rapidly spreading through everyday public contact. The recent increase in cases is a reminder that drug-resistant fungi are becoming a growing public health challenge.
Okay, what is this new sexually transmitted infection everybody's talking about? Good question, let's break it down. All right, community. I know we are super sensitive to sexually transmitted infection outbreaks. And you may have heard about this new one spreading throughout the US, so let me break down what you really need to know. Also, save this one and share it with your people so we can keep this thing in check. All right, it's called Trichophyton metagrophytes type 7, or TM7, and you'll see it written TMVII. It is a fungus in the ringworm family. So this bad boy started circulating in Europe a couple of years ago, and then the first US case was in New York City in 2024. Now we're seeing a small population pop up in Minnesota. As of this recording, only 13 confirmed and 27 suspected cases here in the United States. And right now it's showing up primarily in men who have sex with men, but it can impact anyone, of course. So it kind of looks like ringworm. It's red, scaly, circular patches or inflamed bumps, usually in the genital area, sometimes around your hole, sometimes on your belly, chest, back, or face. So a little good news, bad news. Good news, this won't kill you and it won't overwhelm your system if your immune system is working, and we can treat it. Bad news, treatment takes forever, like 2 to 3 months of oral antifungals. And if you don't treat it, those rashes can leave scars. And listen, as per usual with our community, a lot of clinicians don't know about this yet. So if you are sexually active and have rashes that look like ringworm, be sure to ask your clinician specifically about TM7 or TMVII. And you're with someone you're about to play with who has a rash that looks like ringworm, maybe take a pass on that one and get back with them next time.
Something's going on. Something is going on. My daughter lives near Collierville, Tennessee. She went into a Walmart to do some shopping today, which she rarely does. And they were removing all the meat from the counters, putting it in shopping carts and putting it in the back. And she stopped one of them and she's like, hey, I need a roll of that hamburger. Yeah, we can't sell you this meat. She was like, why? And he's all, I don't know. We were told to remove it all from the counters and we're not allowed to sell it. So she's like, whatever. So she walks over to the dairy counter where, you know, the cheese is and all that. No eggs, no milk, all removed off the shelf. So she's like, nah. She found somebody. She's like, get me a manager out here. A manager came out and my daughter's like, what's going on? Like, he wouldn't let me buy hamburger meat. I need to get milk. I need to get eggs. And he's like, we received a memo this morning at our morning meeting, and we were told to remove all of this from all the shelves and not to sell any of it to the customers. My daughter was like, why? And he's like, I don't know. We don't have a reason. We were just told to say we're not allowed to sell it. My daughter goes to another Walmart down there. Same
Has a biblical prophecy just arrived? With swarms of locusts, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of locusts invading Central Asia. Well, that just happened. And it's not just one swarm of locusts in one area, it's several swarms of locusts in multiple areas, all throughout Central Asia, going on right now. People in Dagestan are freaking out. They believe this is part of a biblical prophecy. Now, I don't know if it is or if it's not, but I definitely would be freaking out too. Having hundreds of thousands of locusts attacking, then finding out it's not just where you are, but it's all over the continent of Asia.
I'm gonna tell y'all, things are getting really strange. I cannot think of the TV series that I used to watch, but it was about how at some point the animals, the earth, virus, everything started turning against humanity. Animals in the ocean were attacking ships and boats. Lions, dogs were banding together. Birds were banding together, attacking humans. Like the animals, the earth was on an all-out attack against humanity because of the damage we was doing to it. So it was like the earth was fighting back. The animal, nature was fighting back. Dang, I can't think of the name of that series, but it was a really good series. Anybody could think of the name of that series, y'all let me know. But that is what is going on, really. I'm thinking of today. Everything is against us. It's like we went through all these years of creating these vaccines that we give our children and that we've taken as children to fight all these viruses and stuff that we're supposed to have been, that conquered and got past. And now we're living longer than we ever lived and things like that. But the question is, why all of a sudden we getting all these infections, these viruses, these funguses that's attacking us? Like, what in the world is going on? Why are all of a sudden we've been attacked by all of these funguses and viruses when we've been given all these vaccines as kids? Are these vaccines that we're given as kids even worth a damn? What are they protecting us against? If we're still catching them and dying, catching these viruses, catching and getting funguses that's growing on stuff that used to not be able to get us sick, now all of a sudden it mutated to get us sick. And who is doing all this testing? Somebody is doing testing on this stuff. Somebody is changing the structure of a lot of these funguses and stuff to see what they can create, which is then getting out, which is then getting us sick, which is then killing off the human race. Who does it benefit to kill off the human race? The animals. But guess what? The animals ain't creating this stuff, because it's affecting some animals. That's what I'm saying. Who's in charge? Who's running the show? Do we know who's running the show on Earth? Do we know who's running the show on Earth? Well, some people do. We got to get more people enlightened. And for the people who know who's running the show, y'all need to speak up. Y'all got to let us know what's going on. I'm doing my best to expose everything going on. There's not a topic that we don't touch here in the OG community. We touch everything. There is no agenda here. We're not looking to create an agenda. We're here to spread news and create awareness. Be safe out there. Let's get back into this video.
Something is going on in our world. Something serious is happening, and we just got to open our eyes to it. And while locust swarms do happen, they don't happen like this, and they don't happen every day, scattered around a continent. Let me know what you think, Booshkies, in the comment section. Till next time, Shabadoo.
Try, peace and love. So I'm outside just chilling, watching the sky, enjoying my peace and my solitude. And I look at my truck, and I'm like, what are these little white maggot, little parasite-looking motherfuckers on my shit? But I know I ain't been nowhere where anything could have fell on my truck like this. It ain't pollen, it ain't rain, but it definitely came from above, and then it came from the sky. Look at this, y'all. They all over my truck. I don't know what them is, but they definitely came from up above. So it ain't just water falling, it ain't just metals, it ain't just particles, there's other shit falling out of the sky, bro. They look like little mushrooms on the end, like real tiny mushrooms, or like parasites, bro. Feel me? It's just crazy, bro. And we just think the shit don't be happening and this shit just fake, bro. That's not good to our, that's not healthy, bro. That ain't nothing but freaking pollution.
A fungal infection outbreak in Middle Tennessee that has sickened more than 30 people and killed one is raising concerns about whether similar cases could occur elsewhere in the state, including West Tennessee. The illness histoplasmosis is caused by histoplasma, a fungus that lives in soil. Dr. Steve Threlkeld, an infectious disease specialist at Baptist Memorial Hospital in Memphis, said Tennessee sits in one of the highest risk regions in the country. This is a fungus that lives in the soil in fairly high concentration in this part of the country, he said. The Ohio and Mississippi River valleys make us really the epicenter. Health officials said the outbreak is centered in Williamson and Maury counties, though investigators have not yet identified a common source. Experts say histoplasmosis outbreaks are often tied to a specific exposure where soil is heavily disturbed, such as construction sites. While the word outbreak can sound alarming, Dr. Threlkeld said most people who inhale the fungus never become sick. The most common way we see it is asymptomatic, he said. Most people really don't have any symptoms. Dr. Threlkeld said many Mid-South residents may already show signs of past exposure without ever knowing it. The doctor said chest x-rays often reveal small lung scars called granulomas that are the body's response to an old histoplasmosis infection. If you did a chest x-ray on 10 people in the Mid-South, 8 of them would likely have evidence of a past infection that their body just walled off and took care of itself, Threlkeld said. He said histoplasmosis can be dangerous for certain groups, including people with weakened immune systems, older adults, and very young children. In those patients, the infection can cause pneumonia or spread beyond the lungs to other organs. In higher risk people, it can even cause what we call disseminated disease, Dr. Threlkeld said. That can be a deadly infection. Experts said the fungus thrives in moist soil, especially in areas with bird or bat droppings. When soil is disturbed, microscopic spores can become airborne and inhaled. Anything that really turns over soil and causes a lot of dust can increase risk, Dr. Threlkeld said. Construction sites, heavy gardening, and cleaning chicken coops as higher risk activities. Doctors said simple precautions can reduce exposure. Wearing an N95 mask or dampening soil before working can significantly decrease the amount of dust you breathe in, the Dr. Threlkeld said.
Have you all ever seen anything like this? Let me show you. Like what's on this tree? It's all in the branches. There's some over here. There's some over there. It's everywhere, all over the tree. But this part, all that green stuff is new. It is really thick. It's going up through there. That hasn't been here. So that's kind of freaking me out a little bit. Have you all ever seen anything like this? It really needs to be chopped down. I mean, truly, look at all of those things. I mean, they're hard as rocks too, and it's everywhere. I mean, literally everywhere. Look at that. It killed the whole tree, but I have never seen any kind of fungus like this before in my life. It's really kind of scary because people can get like lung disease and stuff like that from fungus that come from trees. I know a guy who died from it. He got a fungus in his lungs that were caused it was found on tree bark, which is crazy, but he passed away from it. It was a bad situation. Very sad. He was young too. I think it's time we cut that down. Let me know in the comments if y'all have ever seen anything like that before, because I sure haven't. That's the only time I've ever seen anything like that. So let me know if you know what it is. Be blessed and happy Sunday.
All the baddest queens rule like this. Yeah, they rule like this. All the baddest queens rule like this. Yeah. Crown on my head, yeah, I built my own throne. Don't need a king, I can get it alone. Swipe the black card, hit the register, sing. Heard you were the man, but I run everything. Got my own bag, it's a Birkin, you see.
People are dying from cucumbers, and now I need to start my own farm, because why is 167,000 pounds of chicken on fucking recall? It's getting to a point where I'm scared to eat, because how am I supposed to know that 167,000 pounds of chicken I might be eating is contaminated? And I know you didn't fucking know that this shit was on recall, because it just happened a day ago and I don't hear anyone talking about it. So I'm gonna tell you the details. And remember, Don't eat a cucumber. So allegedly, they're claiming that Purdue Farms is recalling over 167,000 pounds of chicken products due to potential metal contamination. Aren't we just talking about listeria and salmonella? Now we got to deal with fucking metal. What are y'all doing? Where's this chicken at? This comes directly from ABC News, so this is not a joke. Poultry company voluntarily recalled 167,171 pounds of frozen chicken after a foreign material was identified in a limited number of consumer packages. This includes, but not limited to, the Simply Smart organic gluten-free breaded chicken breast nuggets, Butcher Box organic free fully frozen cooked breast chicken nuggets. Is it the artificial chicken that has the metal, the one that y'all said y'all was gonna make in labs? Stay away. Stay away. Oh, and who got a farm? Because I'm not eating this shit no more.
Parents, guardians in general, okay? If you're a Walmart shopper and your baby likes these nuggets, Walmart ain't saying nothing, so I'm going to use my platform to tell you. Whether you shop at Walmart or not, you know, you have a picky eater, kids love what they love. Anyway, if your child has eaten these nuggets and you've noticed, whether they're potty trained or not potty trained yet, if you open that pull-up or that diaper or you check where they're using the bathroom, the poop is at the bottom and it looks like somebody poured water on the top, take your baby to the ER and get tested for salmonella or anything viral going on, because something is wrong with these nuggets and ain't nobody saying nothing. Walmart ain't issued a recall. They are saying nothing. So I'ma be the first to tell you, stop buying these for your baby. Something is wrong with these nuggets and they ain't telling. It's so many babies sick with really bad diarrhea. Some of them have, you know, thrown up or whatever, and I can speak on it because my son got sick from eating them, and I've talked about it with other.
Scientists just found that a deadly fungus might be spreading across Asia, America, and Europe. A research team at the University of Manchester found that warming temperatures are allowing several members of the Aspergillus family to rapidly expand north from their usual territories. Aspergillus is a type of mold which can cause lung and breathing problems if it infects a human, usually fine in healthy adults, but in people with asthma or weakened immune systems, it can have a 50% mortality rate. We don't usually worry too much about fungal infection because most fungi thrive at cooler temperatures, typically around 12 to 30 degrees C, and the human body averages 37 degrees C, which is too hot for them to infect and grow effectively. That is why the insect world is readily colonized by these freaky fungi, but mammals' warm bodies effectively have built-in thermal defenses. But that defense might be failing. Aspergillus already survives hotter temperatures largely because it evolved in warm, decaying environments like compost piles. Globally rising temperatures, though, may mean that other species also start to develop this thermotolerance and more readily jump to human hosts. Higher rates of human infection mean we expose the fungi more frequently to our antifungal medicines, increasing the risk that they develop resistance to these drugs, much like how some bacteria no longer respond to antibiotics. It's also much harder to develop antifungals than antimicrobials, because unlike bacteria, we share a lot of our biology with fungi, which makes targeting them without damaging us really difficult. So forget mushroom foraging, in a few decades they might be foraging us.
There's a deadly infection inside American hospitals with no reporting requirement and a mortality rate approaching half. And until last Thursday, nobody could tell you how common it was because nobody was ever required to count. It's invasive mold disease. And before you picture a damp basement, this is a fungus that has crossed out of the lungs and into tissue. It's not what a wellness clinic means when they sell you a mold panel. There were 449 cases. 45% were dead in 3 months. 81% of them were on the right drug the whole time. That last number's the one. When the treatment's correct and people die anyway, the failure happened earlier. It happened at diagnosis. And 1 in 3 of these patients had none of the classic risk factors that doctors are trained to look for. Most were still sick in other ways, but the pattern we're taught to recognize missed a third of them. Now, watch how both sides of medicine failed the same word and the same patients. Wellness took mold and sold it to everyone. Urine panels, detox protocols, a diagnosis for anybody tired and willing to pay. Legacy medicine responded the same way it always does. It didn't correct the science, it just started rolling its eyes at the word. When you say mold in an exam room, you'll see the doc's face change before you finish the sentence. So the eye roll became policy. There's no mandate to report it, no national count. 5 years of data from one city is the best picture we have. One side sold a fake version, the other side got so annoyed by the fake version that it stopped tracking the real one. Both were talking, neither was listening, and the people who actually had it died in the gap. Flooding is increasing, the population's aging. this grows. The CDC has counted it once in 4 hospitals in one city.
I went to the dermatologist because I have this going on. Tell me why that bitch said, "Oh, babe, you got a fungal infection." Hey, I take fucking showers. I had her up against that fucking wall like...
Oof. People thought that was scabies. It's not scabies. You start seeing these spots when you get a little bit of sun. Basically, these are fungus yeast colonies. They grow and they basically block your ability to tan. That's how you notice it. This is called Tinea versicolor, and unlike all the other fungal infections, it's actually not contagious and it's very treatable. Can you tell what specialty a surgeon is by the way they stand in the OR? Absolutely, without a doubt, yes. So this is kind of fun. What normal people see when they close their eyes is pitch black. What I see when I close my eyes...
A bit of spice.
I see all that. Is this you? So this is VSS, Visual Snow Syndrome. It's actually a well-documented phenomena when you see static even in complete darkness. It is not an eye disorder. This noise is coming from your brain, specifically the visual cortex, which is a part of your brain that interprets sight. The visual cortex remains overactive. It's a bit of a drama queen. No visual signals are coming in, but it decides to create noise like an old malfunctioning TV. Your gluteus muscles are your biggest muscles in your body, and certain medications actually get absorbed better through the intramuscular route. But here, she actually missed the spot, so of course they're running.
Can I cultivate this type of fungus?
This is not a fungus. This is a bloodworm. A widely recognized nutritious fish feed. It cannot be kept.
Can I cultivate this type of fungus?
This is penicillium. It can be kept. Perfect penicillium can be life-saving in critical moments.
Can I cultivate this type of fungus?
This is white mold. Its presence indicates spoil. Food and is not recommended to keep.
Can I cultivate this type of fungus?
This is yeast. It only requires daily additions of flour and water to sustain, making it humanity's earliest domesticated pet.
Can I cultivate this type of fungus?
This is black bread mold. It is inherently toxic and can cause respiratory diseases. It cannot be kept.
Can I cultivate this type of fungus?
This is corn smock, regarded as the equivalent of blood truffles. It can be cultivated for a good price.
Can I cultivate this type of fungus?
This is Legionella in air conditioners. Prolonged lack of cleaning can cause pipe blockages. It is not recommended to keep.
Can I cultivate this type of fungus?
This is Aspergillus flavus on rice. It is one of the strongest carcinogens. It must not be kept under any circumstances.
Can I cultivate this type of fungus?
This is mold growing on quails. Cultivating it requires significant time and effort.
Action from a fungus is spreading, with the CDC now sounding the alarm tonight, warning people this is serious for older folks, like if you have a parent or a grandparent in a nursing home. Cases of what's called C. auris tripling between 2020 and 2021. And part of what's so concerning here is that it's not easy to treat. This kind of infection is resistant to most drugs. I want to show you how much it's been spreading since 2016, from 4 states then reporting cases to 21 states now. Nobody is in freak out mode yet, to be clear. This is still rare. It's not a threat to folks who are otherwise generally healthy. Dr. John Torres is with me now to break this down. And Dr. John, while it is not like freak out mode yet, there is a concern that this, and I don't want to overstate it here, but the worry that perhaps this could develop into the next MRSA. I think people know that as that sort of drug-resistant infection that you can pick up and that can be pretty scary.
And Hallie, the thing of it is the World Health Organization said this is a global issue. So not just here in the U.S., but around the globe. And since 2016, we started to see these cases expand and expand. For most of us who are healthy, have intact immune systems, not an issue because the fungus has a hard time getting into our body. And if it does, our immune system can fight it very well. But for those who are in nursing home, long-term care facilities, if they have invasive procedures done, if they have IV catheters inside, if they're on a ventilator, the fungus can get inside that way, and their immune systems are weak and can't fight it off. And so that is part of the problem there. So what can you do about it as a regular person? Well, number one, stay as healthy as possible. That's the obvious thing to say. But if you have a loved one inside one of these facilities, talk to the facility about their procedures, because this is what we call a nosocomial infection. In other words, a nurse or an aide will get it from one patient and accidentally take it to another patient. And the authors of the study say they think this is happening because during the pandemic, the COVID procedures were essentially essentially different procedures than you needed to keep this clean. And so they're saying there's an issue right there. Hopefully that's being corrected, Hallie.
What's interesting, too, about this fungus is that, according to our reporting, experts think that it originated, or like it came from or got worse because of climate change. Explain that.
Exactly, and the fungus has been around forever, essentially, but it did not really affect humans. It likes cold environments or cool environments, and that's why some of these fungi you can see affect our skin or our toenails because they're cooler areas of our body. But once this fungus starts being able to adapt to warmer environments, it can get inside our bodies, which are 98.6, and they think the climate warming has caused them to adapt to warmer environments, meaning they can get inside our bodies and manifest themselves that way. And the concern is that this is going to continue and perhaps even worsen as
You got that kid in that dirty ass water.
Anybody else notice all these giant mushrooms that started popping up all over Delco? It's suspiciously in line with that fungal storm that's supposed to be crossing the nation right now. I'm just saying.
If you're heading to the beach or cracking open some raw oysters this weekend, listen up. Louisiana health leaders have a warning you need to hear about. The Louisiana Department of Health reports 9 people have been infected with Vibrio vulnificus this year. 5 of those people have died. Every single patient had an open wound exposed to salt water and had an underlying health condition. Now, the bacteria naturally lives in warm coastal waters, especially this time of year. It can also be found in raw oysters and other undercooked food. So here's how to protect yourself. Do not get in salt water if you have an open cut or even a fresh piercing. You want to cover wounds with a waterproof bandage, wash them immediately if they're exposed, and if you're high risk, skip the raw oysters and make sure your seafood is fully cooked. If a wound becomes red, swollen, painful, or it even starts to change colors after being in the water, don't wait. Get medical care immediately.
The Department of Health is warning about a rare fungal infection appearing in Twin Cities doctors' offices. The illness, called TM7, poses a low risk to the general public, but men who have sex with men, people using anonymous apps, and those with prior STI history may face higher risk. It can cause ringworm, is often misdiagnosed, and requires extended oral antifungal treatment. Since July, health officials report 13 confirmed and 27 suspect cases, all in the Twin Cities metro.
When I took his socks off, the smell was pretty intense. This was probably one of the worst smells that I've, really bad, but I have never seen a case like Sebastian's before, ever. Those feet are shocking.
Sebastian's foot condition had taken over his life. Thick overgrowths covered every toe, and pain had become a daily reality. Nights were the worst, keeping him up and making him long for just one peaceful sleep with his family. Even simple things like putting on shoes or walking could trigger sharp pain, forcing him to limit his activity. Every doctor's visit felt like a mental ordeal, and the strong odor from his feet left him feeling powerless and ashamed. His family and doctors could all see his frustration. Doctors confirmed that Sebastian had a rare genetic condition called epidermodysplasia verruciformis, which allows HPV infections to trigger abnormal skin growths. There's no cure, only surgery to manage the symptoms. After an initial surgical cleanup, Sebastian finally got a chance at basic, functional feet again. For him, it felt like a miracle. The surgery was risky, there was a chance of infection, even amputation, but the doctor's expertise and careful approach gave him hope for a real shot at reclaiming his life.
Mold? Underestimated? Strange. Deadlier than previously recognized? No. I can't believe that. Welcome aboard, CDC.
Remember how I said that there's a new virus that scientists are watching that's unlike anything we've seen before? I'm back with that update, and honestly, I'm so sick of viruses, dead ass. So researchers just confirmed what's believed to be the first known marine virus that's capable of jumping from sea creatures to humans. The virus is called covert mortality notavirus, or CMNV. And it was originally discovered back in shrimp farms in China in 2014 after there were these massive die-offs in the seafood industry. But now researchers are saying that it's linked to a chronic human eye disease that can cause intense inflammation, dangerously high eye pressure, and potentially permanent vision damage. And I know there'll be people who are like, well, then just don't eat seafood. But the thing is, it's not only tied to eating raw seafood. Cases were also linked to people handling shrimp, fish, crabs, shellfish, etc. without proper protection, especially people who were processing or cleaning seafood regularly. What's especially wild about this isn't a normal human virus adapting between people. This is being described as the first documented case of a virus from aquatic animals directly infecting humans and causing disease. The study found the virus in eye tissue from patients who had tested negative for other common viral infections like herpes, for example. And researchers also showed that the virus could infect mammalian cells, and they recreated similar eye damage in mice. There's also another layer that feels so 2026 coded because climate change and expanding human activities in marine ecosystems are increasing the chances of these cross-species jumps happening. The researchers specifically warned that warming waters and changes in environmental conditions can stress infected marine animals and potentially increase spreads and mutation risks. They found this virus across aquatic species worldwide, not just one area. It was shrimp, squid, Antarctic krill, etc. So if you've been following my hantavirus videos and thinking, well, surely we're done discovering nightmare-fueled pathogens for a minute, apparently not. This isn't technically a pandemic situation. There's no evidence of widespread human-to-human transmission right now, but it is significant because it changes what scientists thought was possible with marine viruses. Because apparently now we have to add the ocean can also give us viruses to the list. If you haven't had a crash out, I highly recommend it. Until next time, y'all.
We can't do shit. We can't eat healthy. We can't go to the ocean. We can't eat red meat. What the fuck is next? See, what it is they want to create all of these things so now they can say we have created meat. They're creating meat and all these other things. They're pushing the narrative of let's create our food instead of grow our food, instead of raise our food. Because if we create it, guess what? It's a lot cheaper and less effort to just create a burger than it is to raise a cow, kill it, slaughter it, do what you need to do, butcher it to get out the meat. But it's bullcrap. So really, it's just them creating a narrative to push us in the direction they want us to go. Pay attention.
So, I know you lying to me right now. You gotta be, because this seems like the start to something a little too familiar. Fungus found growing on the walls of Chernobyl actually mutated to feed on nuclear radiation. Now, I know that photo looks AI as fuck. But say this is true. This shit seems a little too familiar. Resident Evil and The Last of Us is starting to sound very close to home. Looking a little too familiar to me, man.
Thank you guys for joining your boy for another banger. Hey, be safe out there. Make sure that you're living in a clean home. Clean your hands. Get your bacteria cleaner out. Get your hand sanitizer out. You know, watch what foods you eating. There's so many things that you have to do besides pay bills and take care of your kids now that it's mind-blowing. But hey, here at the OG Community, we're here to give out the information. Until the next time, peace and love.